Yeah, this is the result of our budget cuts. Thanks, Nintendo. Welcome to DDA Biweekly, the show where I do not have enough budget for what I need to do. First, let's hear from our CEO and weatherman, Steven Dorstop. What the fuck? That's why we have no fucking budget. Anyway, we've got sunny skies over Roosevelt Avenue for the near future. However, Mount Typhlosion does threaten to erupt over the surrounding areas, wiping out areas of Charzard Street and the Werdeer district. Authorities have been tracking the potential ash dispersal, saying it can't possibly be as bad as what Michigan's dealing with right now. The high-profile legal battle between former bandmates Rishi Gupta and Steven Dorsop has reached an explosive conclusion. The breakup of the two-part band reached national news after disagreements over the band's assets went to civil court. Dorsop retains creative control of the Youngstown's musical project, as well as royalties from the five-time platinum Electros studio album, while Rishi gains the royalties from the less successful Manectric and Abracadabra Alakazam albums. Rishi, under his new alias Mr. Rhymetime, has released a diss track as a result called Tyranitar Made Freestyle. This diss track received mixed reviews, leading some to call him the Michigan Drake. The Great Arcalodon Bridge was set to be opened between Duford and Kaskarafa this week, but debate over which municipality would earn the primary royalties from the tolls has escalated. So far, in a 2-0 judge ruling, Duford would earn a primary share of the funds as they put forth the money and the points for the construction, but Kaskarafa is still putting up a fight, and we can only hope that they do not gain more money than they already have. The leader of the CBC party was found dead in Dublin last week with signs of blunt force trauma to the head. While authorities were initially unable to find leads, detectives eventually traced evidence back to the escaped serial killer that terrorized the DDA last year, Annihilate. Despite this, the coroner Jackson claims that no foul plays were involved, just a lot of rage fist. EVO Darkcore 2026 was this past weekend, with Supportal Combat 3 shining as the main event. The tournament was made notable by double Dark Horse runs by Rotom Fan and Spiritomb meeting up in the grand finals, upsetting legends like Blastoise and Metagross. And now a clip from the highlight of the tournament. Production on the sequel to Birdemic 2 has been under heavy criticism for their use of CGI Pelipper's after a staff member, Sarah Lindemann, was injured on set. Director Jose Arteaga responded to the criticism saying, "She didn't die, did she? Alec Baldwin could never." Also, the only CGI I'm concerned about is considering Glamora incapacitated, am I right? The Pelippers just needed that new razzle-dazzle. Birdemic 3 Doc and Terror will be razzle-dazzling to theaters never. The F1 team of multi-conglomerate Mr. Rishi Incorporated has earned its first Constructor Championship points on Monday with a shocking win on the Trick Room circuit. The driver Alakazam found success using a rarely seen speed swap maneuver to take home first in the race, where Georgian drivers Mudsdale and Reuniclus were theorized to have the advantage. Mr. Rishi Incorporated looks to continue its hot streak in Moss Deep City this week. Grand Moss Deep, organizer of the Antiques Precious Metal and Gem Show in Moss Deep City, was robbed and beaten while leaving his own show. "They just came and threw rocks at me and demanded I hand over my precious metals. I couldn't even get my sword and shield out to fight back," he was quoted as saying. Grant is currently auctioning off his poltergeist to raise funds for the emotional distress and damage, which is why I'm the one that has to report on what he's saying. The suspects are allegedly part of the Vert District Vipers and are still on the loose. And now let's take a look at the sports for your local teams this weekend.
All right, welcome to the next round of the Draft League. I'm just going to be your substitute co-host, whatever person today. My name is Parker. I'm subbing in for Late Potato Chip. Today we're going to be watching The Doorstop versus I Love MIR, or MIR. It looks like we have a Charizard. I don't know if this is Charizard X or Charizard Y. Team plus Electros. I have to assume it's Mega Electros. Versus a like hard sand team plus like maybe a Mega Manetric and a Mr. Rhyme. Yeah, let's get right into it. Let's see what both players choose to do. So I would have to imagine that Manetric's probably a strong bring up front. So is this Tauros. I actually think Manetric's really strong because if you see that this is an Empoleon lead, you don't have to Mega, which means you don't have to give them the competitive boost, and you also have a strong type advantage into every Pokemon on this team except for Mamoswine and Electros and Sinestcha. I guess that's not an insignificant amount. Garchomp looks really strong, can threaten the Charizard. But yeah, let's stop talking. Let's start getting into it. All right, so we see that I Love MIR brings in Manetric and Corviknight versus Mamoswine and Electros. So notably, this Mamoswine can threaten this Manetric with like a strong Earthquake. It won't hit its own Electros because of the Levitate or the Elevate if it Mega Evolves, which means that this Corviknight will be kind of free to set up, except for the fact that Electros really threatens it. So this board state really favors the Doorstop, so we'll have to see how they play. Corviknight gets out of there, says, I don't want to eat an electric move, brings in the Tyranitar, takes an Earthquake for their troubles. Bye-bye Manetric. That has to be a Scarfed Mamoswine, plus a Discharge. The classic Disquake combo, and already I Love MIR is down a Manetric, and it's looking like it's really rough for them to come back from this. Electros really only taking the Life Orb and Sand Chip, not a Mega Evolution. And now Corviknight's probably going to underspeed these Pokemon, and even with Protect, I don't know that Corviknight's going to be able to survive this attack or like remove the Mamoswine. You know what though? Tailwind is a great way to slow things or reverse the momentum. We see that Tailwind comes out, Mirror Armor is going to reflect right back at Scrafty. These Pokemon have such little health, but you know what? They're still in the game. Knockoff comes out. Corviknight goes for a bulk up. If that's another Thunderbolt, there goes Corviknight, and now it is a 2 versus 4 situation, and they just decide to forfeit. So we're going to go check out game 2. Oh, game not found. I have it right here. All right. So we just saw last game that we know for a fact that Mamoswine is Scarfed. We know Corviknight can set up Tailwind, which can kind of reverse the tempo. But the thing is, this Sinestcha could probably just reverse the tempo right back with a Trick Room. And I have to imagine that unless this Corviknight has like some sort of boosting move, Sinestcha's most likely going to survive a Brave Bird from the Corviknight, depending on how it's invested. But generally, they're really bulky. So we'll have to see what they do. Honestly, this Mamoswine is threatening a lot into this whole team. Maybe Tauros or Garchomp. All those are great brings. I think Garchomp lead would have been pretty nice there into the Mamoswine Electros lead, because you can make him lock into an ice move instead, which wouldn't threaten the rest of your team, especially if you swapped in like a Tauros or a Mr. Rhyme on that spot. But we'll have to see how I Love MIR adapts, if they do. Oh, a little loud. Let's turn that down. All right, Mr. Rhyme plus Manetric. Okay, Mr. Rhyme, generally a Pokemon that does offer Fake Out support. Fake Outs into the Empoleon plus an Overheat into Charizard. Unfortunately, that's not going to do a lot of damage into Charizard, but thanks to the White Herb, you're going to get those stats right back. Charizard opting for a Protect. Can't get taken out by a Thunderbolt if it's not down. Followed up by a Dazzling Glade. Maybe expecting a switch in there. Ooh, Icy Wind is actually going to lower the speed stat because Manetric's already removed its White Herb. I'm going to slow down the speed so I'm not talking at Mach pace. Okay, so this is Mega Charizard X. Generally a setup Pokemon, but realistically can remove either one of these Pokemon because they are not known for being the bulkiest. So a Flare Blitz into either would probably take care of them. And there goes Mr. Rhyme. Bye-bye. Okay. So Manetric protected, didn't really get much for the turn, but does block another Icy Wind. So we'll have to see how I Love MIR adapts. Okay, this Charizard is threatening Corviknight with another Flare Blitz. It does heal up from the Hospitality. Does Manetric switch out? No, it's just going to take the Flare Blitz. Now it's down to another 2 versus 4 situation. Corviknight goes for what? We see Tailwind. Okay, last time it wasn't enough. We'll have to see if it is this time. We do see the Garchomp come out, and notably, Charizard is threatened by Earthquake because when it Mega Evolves to Charizard X, it does remove its flying typing. We see Scrafty come in. We know for a fact this can't be White Herb because earlier we saw that Manetric was. So it's going to take the -1. Okay. Oh, hold on, I'm getting a call. Let me Let me make sure it's still recording. Okay, cool. The attack stat goes down for Garchomp. Garchomp clicks Earthquake. It does not do much to both these Pokemon. Corviknight bulks up, says, you know what, I'm here for a long time. Let's just take it nice and slow. Trick Room is going to reverse the speed control, so now that Doorstop's Pokemon are faster, we're going to see how they adapt. We see a Fake Out come out from Corviknight, followed up by a Matcha Gotcha saying, hey, if I get some burns, this game's effectively over. Do they get the burn, though? They do not. The ×4 resisted Matcha Gotcha isn't going to do much. We do see an Ice Punch come out into Garchomp. It is going to do over half of its health, which means the next one will pick up. Sinestcha's healing back up. I have to imagine we might be seeing another Earthquake or an attack followed up by this Garchomp. Corviknight putting all the stocks on, or sorry, I Love MIR putting all the stocks in Corviknight. Dragon Claw into Sinestcha. It's going to bring it down a little bit lower. We see Empoleon return to the battlefield. Garchomp saying, you know what, I'm going to protect, I don't want to eat another Ice Punch. Scrafty feeling like, hey, I have the momentum, I'm just going to throw another one that way. And Brave Bird to remove the Scrafty. So now, Trick Room is still up. Charizard's not on the board yet. The way that you have to remove this Sinestcha is with Brave Bird, which is just going to give more and more chip to this Corviknight. We did see it had Icy Wind last game. That is going to remove the Garchomp. Mirror Armor is going to make it so Empoleon speed goes down, but thanks to competitive, its special attack goes back up. So Corviknight does have Tailwind, but the fact that Sinestcha is going to... Okay, that's a really interesting interaction. Heal it back up with Strength Sap. I don't know how this Corviknight's going to be able to break through both of these Pokemon and still survive. Now it has to take a +2 special attack for its troubles, which is a Hydro Pump, and there goes Corviknight, and that is the end of our game. So well played to both players. Honestly, great adaptations. Great text too. Seeing Strength Sap into a Mirror Armor Pokemon to have like infinite healing is really interesting. Especially also that Icy Wind into Corviknight to get a +2 to the special attack. Those are cool things you don't see happen very frequently. But that was well played by both of our players there.